Well, it feels like the first day of summer. It's Phil Beeman in here. We've had a heck of a long, cold spring, and this is the first day that's even. I'm still wearing a sweatshirt, but at least I could probably work up a sweat if I really started getting going in a hurry. But today's job, it's Sunday afternoon of the long weekend, so everyone else is off to the lake and having barbecues, and us poor beekeepers are here trying to get some work done. So I got a few queens left from the last batch I didn't find homes for, so I'm just trying to make up a few nukes. So I thought I'd go through making a split today. This is sort of not always the way I do it. I'd call this manual split, where we're going to basically find the queen and manually put things where we want. I often do what I call a logical split, where I either introduce a queen excluder or do some other sorting, and then know where the queen is based just on presence of eggs after 3 days of isolation. So, but in this case, because I'm trying to get these queens into homes real quick, I want to be able to do that right away. So first thing you know is I got one of these Jester nuke boxes here, and first thing I want to do is make sure the door is closed. It's terribly disappointing to have made a nuke and then have half the bees bleed back away. They go off flying to forage again, and so that when you come to introduce your queen the next day or in the evening, there's the field, the live bees have dwindled away, and then you get chilled brood because there's not enough brood, not bees to keep the brood warm. So first thing, lock the door. Then you got to find yourself a good hive, and I think I got one here. I'm seeing bees, probably not quite wall to wall, but this one has potential. So indicating signs including having eaten nearly the whole pollen patty, and the feed pail it had on was empty, so it's consuming stores. So that's, bees don't eat for no reason. Then you got to get into the hive. So much easier when it's warm. I like to pull, I'm not too picky about which specific frame I pull, but I want to get one that doesn't have a lot of burr comb or bees on it, so I don't smush anything pulling it out. And right away, you want to scan, no queen there, set it aside. You could put that right in the nuke right away, but I'll probably do that with the next one here. I'm starting to lose hope that this hive is as strong as it looks. No brood there. Nothing there. Some nice pollen stores. Don't know how they did that through all the rain. We've only had, I bet you these hives have had less than 20 hours of foraging in the last 40 days. Another pretty much empty frame. Some eggs, a little bit of brood and eggs on this side. So now we can do a bit of a count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, there's brood right to the inside wall. We might still have something here. Oh boy, not much. So honestly, the best thing I can do is leave this hive alone. And move that strip over to where the bees are. Okay, so I'll find another hive to work on. Okay, I got one here that's marginally better. And we're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel here, but I think I can take a split out of this. It's not going to be a big one, but so then you got to find the queen, and that's no easy task. You can see that this open patch here, that's eggs the queen has recently laid. So she's in the area, and I'm gonna call that a frame of brood. There's just the larvae are just coming. We're gonna call that one. Otherwise, we're not gonna get a nuke out of this. And then I'm going to, even as I'm looking for the queen, already starting to set it up the way I want. A nice frame of brood here. You got to look under the strip for those queens. And I'm going to put this heavy frame of feed against the wall. And this might not be true everywhere, but certainly in our climate, you got to keep everything tight together, even as you're inspecting the hive. Frame like this, it's got lots of brood. You wouldn't set it aside or leave it in the sun too long. At least partly because if you're looking for the queen, you don't want these bees to bunch up. You want everything to be just as calm and normal as possible. So once you've checked the frame, you slide it back in right up to its friend there, so that the bees don't form clusters in bee spaces that are too large. And of course, finding the queen is both, the kind of like the summiting Everest part of beekeeping, where it's a joy to achieve, but it's a pain to accomplish at the same time. And there's really no substitute for just very thorough, careful, wall-to-wall. I always scan my eyes down into the hive opening to make sure she's not on the wall or on the bottom. And the queens are somewhat preferential away from being full daylight. So often if you kind of expose them, they'll go scurrying away from that. So it's good to have just a quick scan down the hole to see if you can't catch them trying to run away from you. So now I've been through the whole hive once. Didn't find her. I'm going to go back into my nuke here. I set 2 frames aside for that. This frame has eggs in it as well. Not many. Just in this area right here. The camera will probably never pick that up, but I can see a little white grain of rice. Oh, there's the queen right there. I was so interested in the eggs. Okay, so we're going to take her. And we're going to put her. We had honey frame, and then 1, 2, 3 frames of brood. We're going to stick her in there and separate these until we figure out what else we can take from here. So I got a frame of brood here. I want to leave for sure 3 there. That's kind of the minimum. Oh boy. So that's about it. So we're going to have to find 2 queens to make this one nuke. Shake a few extra bees into that nuke. There's lots of feed there. I'm going to get a few frames of empty comb. And then we'll have to get into another hive to finish off this nuke. Okay, here we are with another pretty good looking hive. I'm thinking there won't be much brood beyond the edge of this patty here, but it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, probably 5, which would give me, I could take 2 frames of brood and leave 3, and that's about where I want to be. After equalizing, which really should be done by now, but we haven't had weather to work the bees, and the farmers haven't had any weather to plant their crops, so it might work out yet. But I want to have my singles worked to about 3 frames of brood and a good queen, typically by mid-May. We're 20 to 25 days behind, so it's going to be an interesting year. I was thinking to myself, it feels both like the first day of spring and the first day of summer today. The May long weekend, Canadians call it the 2-4 weekend, typically around May 24th. But also when you might have a 2-4 a beer is, I forget what we're celebrating, some dead British monarch, I think. So lots of pollen stored there, and you can see lots of pollen coming in. The bees have done pretty well today already. The dandelions just came into bloom, and that's about 20 days late, I would say. Usually they bloom the first week of May. Oh, there's our girl, right there. And she is, according to her tag, a 2019 queen. And going from summer of 2019. So she's got 2 summer of 2020, 21. She's got 2 full seasons under her. So we'll just leave her there. Now we've got 1 more frame of brood there, and then we can take whatever we have to spare here. There's 1. Ooh boy. There's 1. And there's nothing more. So this one's got, where did that queen go? I think she was on this one. 1 from a brood. There she is. 2, 3. And this is just bees. Well, we're gonna have to live with that. So this is the pain part of putting together nukes from smaller hives. Is finding 2 or 3 queens to make one nuke. Holy smokes, it's a slow process. Anyway, that one has 1 good frame of brood and 1 frame of larvae and a couple frames of eggs. It's just gonna have to make do with that. All right, then we put all this back together here. And I'll show you how to put the queens in. So we'll do that next. Okay, so I got more of my Saskatraz queens. This is would be over 200 now I've put in. And again, cleaned out a bit of the hole, and you check to make sure the queen is good. And even though I've had these for a few days, the 3 attendants are all still alive. That's good. And then I'm just going to open up the frames right in the middle, push her down, and then squeeze the frames tight again. And then I'm going to put in this blanket, close the nuke up, and you can, so because you close all these doors, you make a few of these without having to rush off. And then I'll set these nukes off probably in the evening and open the doors up right at dusk, and so they won't fly till tomorrow, and then they'll reorientate to their new site. So that's making nukes. If you hear beekeepers talk about a nuke, that's what it is, which is brood lifted typically from well-established colonies and then have a queen added to it. Sometimes the queen has been with that nuke for a while. Sometimes the queen has only been in that nuke for a day. So you'd want to, if you're buying nukes, you want to ask, what's the history on the queens. And then I'll have to, when I transfer these back, and you can see here, I've got some nukes that I've put down that we made up previously. I'll come back when we have time, but within a week, and transfer them into standard hive bodies. And at the same time, I will verify that the queen is laying eggs. And so that way I gradually reestablish all the holes on my pallets from hives that have died over winter. And unfortunately, there's plenty of them. All right, so that's making a nuke. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great day.